All right, let's take a look at one more way you can use Excel that you can start using immediately, and that is tracking your grades. So let's say you take a look in the syllabus for some course, and there are three categories of grades you get: homework, in-class exams, and final exam. I'm making this a small number of categories and a small number of assignments to keep it simple. So homework is worth 30% of your course grade. There will be 5 homework assignments in the course. Your in-class exams, there will be 3 in-class exams during the course. The total for all of your in-class exams will be 50% of your final grade. And the final exam, one final exam, of course, and that's worth 20% of your grade. Let's create a spreadsheet to keep track of our grade for this course. And let's say this is Math 114. Of course, if you've read the syllabus, you know it's not, but let's say it's Math 114. So we'll create a spreadsheet and save it in our Math 114 file. So I've opened up a spreadsheet. That's the first thing I want to do, of course. And let's save this as my grade. So File, Save As, Browse. I'm going to go into my courses file. And then I'm going to go into this semester, and I'm going to go into my Math 114 file, and I'm going to call this grade. Grade. All right, so what we want to do is we want to keep track of our homework, our exams, and our final exam score. Right? So let's say I'm going to put in our homework assignments here. So the first thing is I'll put in homework assignment 1, homework assignment 2, homework assignment 3, homework assignment 4, and homework assignment 5. And then I'll put a total here. Right? The other thing I want to include is I want to include my score, how many points I got, as well as the total number of points possible. Ultimately, we would like to turn that into a percentage. Right? That's for homework. Let's make another set of columns for exams. So we'll have exam 1, exam 2, and exam 3. As before, we'll have our own score on the exam and the total possible number of points each exam. And last, we don't have to get too fancy. We can just put in the final exam. Our score and total possible. And I didn't put a total here. And the other thing we're going to want to do to make it simple is let's put this into a percentage. So we'll have our total score divided by our total possible number of points, and that'll be our percentage in each category. Now we don't have to total up. Whoops. Notice percentage spills over. I'm going to widen the column. Now we're not going to have more than one, so we don't have to total up our final exam, but we can make our percentage. All right, so let's say our first homework assignment is out of 50 and we get a 45. Whoops. Our next homework assignment is out of, say, 30 and we aced it. Yay. Our next homework assignment is out of 40. We didn't do as well. We got 25 out of 40. And we started to struggle a bit. And let's say our next homework assignment, we got a 40 out of 60. And we came back and did pretty well in our last homework assignment, which we got a 48, and that was out of 50. Okay? So that's our homework. Let's total up our score. We'll use AutoSum. So remember to use AutoSum. You highlight everything you want to add, as well as the cell in which you want the sum deposited. AutoSum can be found in the home ribbon up in the upper right with the Greek letter sigma, which stands for sum. We got 188 points for our homework. Now we're going to add up the total possible points. Same approach, using AutoSum. And now our percentage, we're going to get by dividing. Our total number of points is in cell B7. So B7. Remember, start every formula with an equal sign. And then use cell references, B7 divided by, and our total points is in C7. And we've got about an 81.7% on our homework. I'm not going to convert the format of that to a percentage because what we're going to ultimately want to do is we are going to want to put this into another sheet where we're going to calculate what our grade is. Okay, so how about exams? Our first exam, we did reasonably well. We got a 91 out of 100. Whoops. Second exam, you can see this is where we started to struggle. We got a 72 out of 100. And the third exam, we did a little bit better. We got about an 85 out of 100. Now let's do the same thing. Get our total points, total number of possible points, and we'll get our percentage. In this case, our total exam points are in cell B5. Oops, sorry, cell F5. So you can see Excel will highlight the cell that you type, so that way you can kind of correct yourself, divided by cell G5. And we've got an average of about 83% on our homework. And let's say the final exam, we did well, we got 191 out of 200. Let's generate our percentage. So this is in J2 divided by K2. And that's about a 95%. Okay? So these are our raw grades, and I've converted them into percentages. Now what we want to do is we want to assemble our grade based on these, oh, it's not showing me, the weighted averages we saw before. So let's open another sheet so you can create a new sheet in an Excel file. If you look down at the very bottom, it says sheet 1, and then there's a little plus next to it. So we're going to make a new sheet, and this is where we're going to calculate our grade. Right? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the category here. So we've got homework, in-class exams. Make this bigger. In-class exams and the final exam. And we'll put our percentages here. And then we'll put the weights here. So I'm going to put the weights in right now. Remember that homework was 30%, in-class exams was 50%, and the final exams were 2%. Right? So what we're going to do is this creates something called a weighted average. So what we will do here is put in our weighted score, and then the total will be our grade. All right, I'm going to show you another cool thing about Excel. This is called paste link. Now I could just go back and type the percentages in from the previous sheet, but you can actually put a link to those cells here in this slot and on this sheet in a way that if you make a change, you can see things automatically. All right. So let's take a look how to do that. So I'm going to go into sheet 1. Let's start with my homework score. My homework percentage was right here, okay? So I'm going to select that. I'm going to copy it. Whoops. Copy. I copy that cell. I usually just use Control C. And now, and you can see that the fact that I've copied it, there's a little kind of, you look around that cell, you can see there's kind of an animated dash line telling you that that cell's been copied. Now over here to paste, notice there's a little down arrow. There's different kinds of ways to paste something in Excel. So I click the down arrow really carefully, and you'll see a whole bunch of different pastes. You can experiment with these. This one with the little chain link is called paste link. I'm going to show you why that's valuable in a minute. I'm just going to put that in there. And now if you give me a moment, I'm going to do the same thing with the other percentages. There. Now we've got everything we need to calculate our grade. So what we need to do is make a weighted score. This was like the example I did with Duolingo, which was a little artificial. This is more realistic. What we do is we multiply the percentage by the weight. So in this case, for homework, I multiply this percentage I have by the weight 0.3. So that's cell B2 times cell C2. How do I do that? Remember to start with an equal sign. That tells Excel formula's coming. Then I use cell B2. I type in B2. It highlights B2, telling me that helps me confirm that I've done the right thing. For multiplication, you need an asterisk. And now I type in cell C2, highlighted it so I know that's correct, and I hit enter, and that's my weighted score. Now I simply drag this down, and I get my weighted score for all three. Right? So making formulas, start with an equal sign, use the cell addresses, column, row, not case sensitive, to grab the numbers in the cells. And if you have multiplication, use the asterisk. Once you've got the formula in, hit enter, then drag and drop. And now I want to sum this up to get my total grade. Auto sum again, and my grade is at about an 85%, and that's a good solid B. Now, let me show you why PasteLink is so valuable. Let's say I want to know how well do I have, first of all, let's say I made a mistake and typed something in wrong. Let's go back to the raw grades, and let's say I typed in, oh, whoops, this was actually 50 out of 60. I did a little bit better. So I type that, notice the formula updates my homework percentage, but even more important, this was about 81% before. Because I linked to this cell when I pasted it, that means that link, when I go to the next sheet, is automatically going to be updated. And now I've got an 86%. Still a B that didn't make too big a difference. But let's say I also messed up and I actually got an 81 on this exam. Let's see how that helps. Now we're getting up into B plus territory. So here's a question you might ask. How well do I have to do on the final to get over a 90% and get an A or an A minus? Well, the first question is it possible? Well, to do so, I'd have to, let's see what happens if I ace the final. If I ace the final, the best I can do is an 88%. All right, well, if a B plus is over an 87%, how badly can I do on the final and still keep that B plus? And here you can think around, let's say I get a 180 out of 200 on the final. That's a little bit below, depending on your professor's policy, that may get rounded. What if I get a 185? That's a little bit better. And so you might say, I want to get a 185 on the final in order to maintain my B plus. There's also something called GoalSeek that allows you to do what if analysis in Excel, and we may look at that later on in the course, which would give you more precise answers. What I think it would be useful for each of you to do is set up a spreadsheet like this for each of your classes. That way you can monitor and control your grades, right? Although it might be harder in this class given the syllabus, but for those that you can, right? This class you have control in a different way. All right, the next thing we're going to start looking at over the next couple of sections are different types of data. Notice we have some of our data are scores, some of them were categories like my Duolingo data. Sometimes we have percentages and sometimes we don't. So we're gonna take all those apart and start looking at those closely.